Today we are going to be identifying the limiting reactant using stoichiometry. So limiting reactant is the reactant that is used up first, and it limits the amount of product that can be produced. And the excess reactant is the reactant that remains when a reaction stops completely. And the limiting reactant is consumed. And don't forget that the limiting reactant determines the amount of product created.
So the first thing that you're going to do when identifying the limiting reactant is you're going to write out a balanced chemical equation. You start with the first reactant and convert it to grams of products using the conversions we learned in class. The next thing you're going to do is repeat step 2 for any other reactants in the chemical equation. The reactant that, when converted, produces the least amount of product is the limiting reactant, and the one with the most amount of product is the excess reactant. Also, don't forget to do your significant figures, and it doesn't matter which product you convert to as long as you use the same product for both reactants.
Alright, next we're going to try an example problem. So when given the following chemical equation, identify the limiting reactant. How many grams of H3PO4 can be produced from 42 grams of PCl5 and 68 grams of H2O? So here's our chemical equation, and we're going to start with the 42 grams of PCl5. And we're going to use our train tracks. So the molar mass of this is 208.22 grams, and make sure you label as you go along so you don't get confused. And that is 1 mole of PCl5. And now we're going to look at the molar ratio. So there's 1 mole. And when we're converting to H3PO4. So there's 1 mole of that in our chemical equation. And in 1 mole of H3PO4, there's 97.994 grams. Alright, and so put it in your calculator, multiply across the top and divide by the bottom, and you will get 19.8 grams of H3PO4 when you use your correct sig figs. And so now we're going to convert the 68 grams of H2O to our product. And so there's 18.016 grams of H2O as the molar mass, and that is 1 mole. And now we're going to look at our molar ratio. So there's 4 moles of H2O and still 1 mole of H3PO4. In this step, we're just repeating from the problem above. It's the exact same. Multiply across the top and divide by the bottom, and you get 92.5 grams. So now we have both answers, and we can compare them and look at them side by side, and we see that PCl5 creates the least amount of product, so that means that PCl5 is the limiting reactant.
Alright, now you're going to pause the video and do the practice problems. And the answers are at the end of the problem. if you didn't get the answers, here's the work for you. And for the second problem, you have to make sure that you know which place you're looking at. This we converted from to zinc chloride, and this one we went to hydrogen. So the zinc is the limiting reactant anyway. All right, that concludes this lesson.